guys! Welcome to my class. Our topic for today is about terminating and repeating decimals. You are going to learn it here, the easy way. In case you are new to my channel, please subscribe so that you will be kept updated on the next math lesson. Then, like and share so that you can also help other students. We are going to study today how to use bar notation and to find the repeating pattern in a decimal. I want you to know some terms like terminating decimals. These are numbers that comes to an end after few repetitions following the decimal point. For example, 3.25456 and 1.331. Repeating decimal is a decimal number with a digit or group of digits that repeats continuously. Look at the example here. 2.2341, 341, 341. You see, the 341 repeats. Bar notation is a way to show repeating numbers after a decimal point, which is easier to write rather than writing same repeating numbers over again. Look at the example here. 2.333, you can write it instead as 2.3 with a bar on the top of 3. Rational numbers are numbers written when two integers are divided as a over b, provided that b is not equal to 0. I want you to know the different rational numbers, which are the integers and whole numbers. Whole numbers are counting numbers starting from 0, while integers includes the negative number, the 0, and the positive numbers. Let us work on this example so that you will be guided. Write 4/15 as a decimal. We are going to divide the fraction so that we can find the decimal number. Accordingly, 4 divided by 15, it will give us 0 because there is no 15 in 4. So, 0 times 15 will give us 0. And 4 minus 0 will give us 4. We can add 0 on 4 and we can bring down the 0 so that it will become 40. We can place a decimal point after 0 because 40 becomes 10. So, how many 15 are there in 40? There is 2 15 in 40. We are going to multiply the quotient 2 by the divisor 15. 2 times 15 will give us 30. We can subtract 30 from 40 and it will give us 10. We can add 0 to 40 so that it will be on the hundreds place. And we can bring down the 0 so that the 10 will become 100 and we can continue dividing 15. So, how many 15 are there in 100? There is 6. We can multiply the quotient 6 by the divisor 15. 6 times 15 will give us 90. Subtracting 90 from 100, it will give us 10. Adding 0 to 4 will give us on the thousands place. And we can bring down the 0 on the 10 so that it will become 100. Therefore, 100 divided by 15 will give us 6. And 6 times 15 will give us 90. 100 minus 90 will give us 10. It is repeating, right? Do you notice it? If we are going to add 0 on the 4, it will give us 40,000. So, we are going to bring down the 0 again on the 10, it will give us 100. It is repeating, the process is repeating itself, right? 100 divided by 15 will give us 6. And 6 times 15 will give us 90. Do you notice it? Correspondingly, the quotient of 4/15 is 0.2666, where the 6 is repeating. Instead of writing 6 all over again, we can write the answer as 0.26 with a bar notation. This means that 6 is repeating. Let us work on another example so that you can understand it well. Write -1/6 as a decimal. To write the fraction as a decimal, we can divide it. How many 6 are there in 1? There is 0. So, 0 times 6 will give us 0. We can add 0 on the 1 and there will be a decimal point on the quotient because we are on the tens. So, -1 minus 0 is 1. Correspondingly, we can bring down the 0 so that the 1 will become 10. How many 6 are there in 10? There's 1, so 1 times 6 will give us 6. 10 minus 6 will give us 4. We can add 0 to the 1 and it will become 100. So, we can bring down the 0 and 4 will become 40. How many 6 are there in 40? There is 6 in 40. And 6 times 6 will give us 36. 40 minus 36 will give us 4. We can add another 0 to the 1 and it will become 1000. And we can bring down the 0 so that the 4 will become 40. How many 6 are there in 40? There's 6. And 6 times 6 will give us 36. The process is repeating again. 40 minus 36 will give us 4. So if we are going to add 0 again on the 1, the process will repeat. Appropriately, we can write the answer negative 0.166 repeating. So instead of writing 6 all over again, we can write a bar notation on top of it. Therefore, the answer is negative 0.16 repeating, or there is a bar notation on top of the 6. Therefore, we have already learned how to use bar notation. Now, let us move to find the repeating pattern in a decimal. Let us work on this example so that you will be guided. Salama completed 22 questions out of the 30 items in the assessment. To the nearest 1,000, what is her average marks if all answers were considered correct? We are going to divide the completed questions out of the total items. So, 22 divided by 30, it will give us 0. 0 times 30 is 0. So, 22 minus 0 is 22. We can add 0 to 22 and we can bring it down. Accordingly, we can add the decimal point after the 0 on the quotient. So, 220 divided by 30, it will give us 7. 7 times 30, and it will give us 210. 220 minus 210, it will give us 10. We can add 0 on 220 on the dividend and we can bring it down so that the 10 will become 100. 100 divided by 30 is 3 and 3 times 30 is 90. 100 minus 90 is 10. We can add 0 again on the dividend and we can bring down the 0 so that the 10 will become 100. 100 divided by 30 is 3 and 3 times 30 is 90. It is repeating again, right? If we add 0 again on the dividend and we bring it down, the 10 will become 100 and 100 divided by 30 will give us 3. 3 times 30 will give us 90 again and 100 minus 90 will give us 10. Correspondingly, the answer will be 0.7333 repeating. Instead of writing 3 repeatedly, we can write it as 0.73 with a bar notation on top of 3. Consequently, we have met our goal for today's lesson. We have learned how to use a bar notation and we were able to find a repeating pattern in a decimal. To wrap it up, in dividing fractions so that it will be converted into a decimal number, add 0 to the dividend and bring it down so that you can continue the division process. If you observe that the number on the quotient is repeating, write a bar notation on top of that number instead of writing it repeatedly. Likewise, if you observe that the number on the division process is repeating, the number on the quotient is also repeating. Accordingly, we can write a bar notation on the number that is repeating on the quotient. It is easy, right? You can do it. To conclude our lesson for today, I want you to always remember what His Highness Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan, may his soul rest in peace, wrote for us. Education is like a lantern which lights your way in a dark alley. Sheikh Zayed wrote and left this quote for us so that the youth will always remember the importance of education. The genuine concern of Sheikh Zayed for his nation will always remain as this quote will handed down from generation to generation. And to encapsulate our lesson for today, I want you to always remember that life is a math equation. You cannot get the most of it if you cannot convert the negatives into positive. I do hope you have learned a lot for today's topic and you find it easy, okay? Till next math lesson, bye-bye!